Hey y'all, so I wanted to come up here tonight to talk a little bit about the consequences of living in a victim consciousness. So this week, I don't know what made me start thinking about this, but I was kind of meditating on a time in my life where I decided to make radical change. And it was a moment in my life where I said, you know what, I am really tired of things happening to me, or tired of life happening to me and not kind of taking control or grabbing a hold of the reins of my life, for lack of a better metaphor, and having some things happen for me, right? And so one of the things that I think kept me in a space of life happening to me was my thinking, my mindset. One of the manifestations of victim mentality is negative thinking, right? Constantly blaming other people for the things that happen to you, looking for other people to blame, constantly seeing yourself as a victim, and constantly feeling like bad things are always going to happen to me anyway, so why try? And that was kind of a space that I had been in my life prior to kind of my dark night of the soul, where I decided to make some changes in my life. And I decided, you know what, I'm really tired of life happening to me. I feel like didn't have it. I wasn't walking in my power, that I was just allowing things to just happen in my life because there was some seed that had been planted in my life that made me feel unworthy. And so in my mind, I had already decided that bad things were going to happen to me anyway. So why should I try? And that's the victim consciousness. When things happen to us, oftentimes this is used as a coping mechanism to deal with past trauma. And so for me, I decided once I had had enough of that I was going to learn to love myself, that I was going to learn to move in my worthiness, and that I was going to start to make real change in my life. And that I was going to start to be more of an active participant in my life, as opposed to always feeling like I was the victim. Because it really took away from my power. And so I wanted to share that because as we move through 2025, we can't take victim consciousness with us, right? We can't be activating from a victim mentality. We have to take our power back. We have to decide that what somebody else is offering, if it doesn't meet our morals, if it doesn't meet our values, if it doesn't align with our goals, if it doesn't honor our humanity and our worthiness, that we don't have to accept that. And once we decide that we don't have to accept it, we have to begin to intentionally curate a lifestyle that actually aligns with what we value the most. And we have to realize that we do have a say, and we can dictate how our life plays out. Every day you wake up, you can make a decision to be an active participant in your life. That you don't have to allow people on the job, your family, strangers you meet, to dictate how you live that day. And that's simply what it was. I think just kind of waking up to the fact that if you're living constantly with this armor on, trying to keep yourself from accountability and responsibility in your life, and finding people to shift responsibility and accountability on, keeping people out because of the trauma and the disappointments that you've experienced in the past, you're never going to know what you can have. You're never going to know true joy and abundance and happiness. You're never going to be able to attain the goals in which you desire for your world, because you're keeping it out with your due diligence to still live as a victim in your life. And so I wanted to share that with somebody. I feel like somebody needs to hear that 2025 is the year that we come out of victim consciousness, right? Things are not going to happen to you this year. Things are going to happen for you this year, because you have made the decision that you're an active participant, that things that other people don't have control over your life, that other people's pains and hurts don't have to be your lived experience, that you can wake up and say, you know what, yeah, that might have been my life before. Up until this point, I didn't know better, but moving forward, I know better. I am going to make an intentional decision to make real changes in real time and step into my power. And that could look differently for everyone. I think it's important to make a list of areas of your life where you've been playing small, where you've been posing or positioning as the victim. And I want you to look at ways in which you can start to take responsibility in those areas. What are some areas of your life that you've kind of giving up on because you decided to adopt a mindset that says, I can't do it? You will do it once you start to believe that you can. Once you start to believe that once you start to believe in your own power, and once you start to love yourself. Ask yourself why more this year. Why am I thinking this way? What is the root of this issue? Why have I decided to stop trying? Why have I decided that I'm not enough for this area of my life? I'm not enough for this job. I'm not enough for this relationship. I'm not enough for this type of friendship or love. Why have I decided that I need to change myself to attract others or to attract an opportunity? Why have I decided that my authentic self is not enough? Ask yourself why. And if your why is rooted in past trauma, it's time for change. We can embrace the fact that things have happened to us, right? Without becoming or without embodying that lived experience in every area of our life. We can accept, yes, hard things have happened to us, but I allow those things to awaken and embolden a part of me that would have stayed dormant had that thing not happened to me, right? So had that trauma not happened to me, maybe you would have not realized your own strength. And I wish it could have happened a different way, but it happened. And now that it did happen, now you can move differently with new information and with newfound power and strength and wisdom. So for me, just coming out of victim consciousness, coming out of a victim mentality, coming out of a depending on other people to make things happen for us because you don't believe in your own power and your own might and your own will to make things happen. Remove distractions this year and really lock into your own intention, really lock into your own power because you have it in you. You always have. And what we allow to happen is all the bad things, all the muck, all the things that left us feeling really bad about ourselves. We allow those things to become who we are. We integrate those things into our identity when it's just meant to be a moment in time. It's not meant to be a lifetime experience. So we can take those things and it can be information, right? But it doesn't have to be the very root of our behaviors, our actions, our thoughts, our plans, our mindset, right? We can move with that information and we can have that as part of our toolbox, right? When we come to decipher different experiences or we come to decipher different people. But that doesn't have to be in the forefront of our experience at all times because it's keeping us in a space of victimhood when we want to be in a place of power, a place of intuition, a place of discernment, a place of self-trust. How do we heal? How do we move forward? How do we come out of victim consciousness? Through compassion. We have to forgive ourselves for the things that have happened to us and the mindsets that we've adapted because of them. We didn't know better. Now that we do, we can do better. And self-forgiveness is the first step. Once we forgive ourselves and give ourselves compassion because of the things that we did not know when we needed to know them, we can move forward with lighter load. We can be able to take those things and unpack those things and drop them off where they were behind us and move forward with new information, right? So self-forgiveness, compassion, those are the foundational tools to help us move forward and help us come out of victim mentality. Once we are able to give ourselves compassion, we're able to be open to hope, right? Healing our health, healing our heart from unforgiveness, and kind of pulling and sifting that out and squeezing that out, just really getting that out of our hearts makes room for hope, makes room for self-trust, makes room for self-love, right? And I'm not saying that happens overnight. Self-forgiveness it's definitely a process. It's something that happens in the little moments, or it's something that we have little awakenings for every day, every week, or we're forgiving ourselves for something new. But the quicker we move towards self-forgiveness is the quicker we move towards hope, the quicker we move towards love, the quicker we move towards empathy and compassion and self-trust. And then we can do something with that, because that generates power. And once we generate power, we have motivation, we have intention, and we have moving in purpose. We can say, okay, I don't want to live like that anymore. I know better now, and now I'm going to make different decisions that's going to move me to a place of balance, of peace, of joy, of contentment, right? Sometimes it's as simple as saying, no, I'm not going to live that anymore. No, I'm not going to allow you to show up in my life that way anymore. No, I'm going to have a boundary with this person, with this place, with this thing. And again, a process, right? Very powerful things happen in the little moments where we begin to trust ourselves again. And we begin to execute and exercise those moments of trust over our lives. And once we're able to do that, we're able to move into our power, right? So I just want to talk a little bit about that. Victim consciousness, victim mentality, moving forward in the new year, taking healthy risks and trusting ourselves more, and realizing our own power. Because if we're going to constantly blame others and stay in a negative mind state and blame our lack of progression on what has happened to us or on other people, places, or things, we'll never grow. It's when we begin to take accountability, and it's when we begin to take responsibility, and it's when we begin to forgive ourselves, to give ourselves compassion about where we're at, leaning into vulnerability and trusting our own journeys, is when we can actually grow and evolve. All right, that was my tidbit for tonight. I'll see you all soon. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for your time.